Good morning. Welcome to Morning Brew with, yes, it's your girl Germaine. And today is a special new topic, actually, that we're going to be introducing. It is our BREW Impact segment. So before we bring our special guest on, let me see what you guys are drinking today. I have my coffee, but we're going to talk all about my coffee today, okay? Hello, Black Tech over there, Black Tech Book over on Instagram. If you are chiming in, let us know where you're chiming in from. Let us know what you're drinking. And remember, if you're not a coffee drinker, which most people are, it doesn't have to be coffee. It could be whatever you're drinking. Just stop by for coffee and conversation, okay? All right, so let's see. Let's get into this brew today. So today's brew topic segment is special because here we don't just spotlight brands. We spotlight the story behind the brand. And if you've been part of this community, you already know I believe deeply in the power of one story. So one lived experience, one decision, one moment of conviction, that becomes the foundation for legacy. And today's guest is a real example of that. Jessica Taylor, founder and CEO of Ezra Coffee. She is here, and I'm going to briefly just kind of give some highlights, but then we're going to get all into the discussion with her. So some of her accomplishments: $4 million HBCU strategy, national retail presence, 40 under 40. Let me bring Miss Jessica on with us right now. Yes,
Hello.
Jessica, we are talking about you. Hey, Jessica.
Hello. How are you?
I am doing so good. So
Good.
listen, I know you're in nicer weather than we have up north because, it's been snowing
Yeah,
and we still
yeah.
trying to get ready.
You guys been getting hit. I've been watching it on TikTok because I'm like,
Yes.
it looks intense there. I saw like, Boston, New England here. I got like 24 inches in one day.
Well, we had one snowstorm, which was about 16 inches. Then it turned around just the other day and snowed again about 12
Wow,
inches.
wow.
Crazy. Thank
Okay.
God the sun is shining, so it's
Yeah,
melting fast,
yeah.
but not fast enough. But I
Understood.
need to hurry up and relocate to your location in this country.
Listen, come on down to Texas, baby. We'll definitely keep you
So,
warm.
down in Texas. It's a lot going on in Texas right now. I've been following this whole election thing, but that is a whole nother story in itself, right?
But it's gonna be good. We're gonna persevere, and
Yes,
it's gonna all be well.
we are definitely rooting for
Hmm.
Texas. Yes. So, but I want to talk all about Jessica Taylor and Ezra
Yeah,
Coffee.
yeah.
So, listen, 40 under 40, $4 million HBCU strategy plan that you've put in place, adapted. Oh my gosh. And national retailers for your coffee brand.
Yeah,
Before we get into it, how did all this start? Did you just wake up one day and say coffee was my thing?
not at all. So, I started. I used to have these parties every year on MLK Day, and
Hmm.
I used to call them woke parties. This was before the name got hijacked. But you would have to wear a T-shirt with an affirmation on it. You would have to bring a bottle of liquor because I mean it is a party,
Yeah.
and you bring toiletries for the homeless. And I would invite all of the Black-owned businesses that I support to be at the party to talk about their business. Everybody got 1 minute to talk about their business, promote it. And I only use people that I worked with personally, right? And so it would allow for other people to get connected to other Black-owned business. The goal was to continue to circulate the dollar, right? And at this party, I had
Yeah.
made some coffee, and I had the coffee there, and I had it sitting out, and I was like, okay, this is something cool and different. And so I kept the coffee. I had it outside for people to drink, and my friend said, "Oh my God, this is amazing! I want to try it." And she tried it. She liked it. She told everyone about it. She was like, "You should sell this." And I was like, "Listen, The Lord didn't tell you to give me no jobs. Just enjoy the coffee and kind of go on about your business, right? And so I slept with it that night, though. But as the old folks say, if it keeps waking you up, maybe that's something you should do with it. And so from there, I started looking for roasters. I found one that I liked because at the time I was roasting at home on my own, but you can't get consistency that way. And I put on Facebook who would like to try some different coffees, who's a coffee drinker, and people sent me their addresses, and I sent them out about 6 different blends that I had came up with, and I asked them to rank which ones they liked, and we launched on February 7th on Facebook, and it just kind of went from there.
That is awesome. And
Yeah.
forgive me if I am slowing down. My internet has been trying to give me problems all morning.
No worries, no
But,
worries.
it's incredible because can you hear me? Okay. We coming back in. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
A little technical difficulties here. Not sure if you can still hear me.
I can hear you.
But it will sync up in a moment. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, great. You know what I love about the power of one story? We never know where it's going to open up a whole different avenue that we never even considered.
Absolutely.
And so, listening to your story, you started out one way,
Mm-hmm.
people gravitated to it, and
Mm-hmm.
then you made the opportunity available to them
Yeah,
to get your data feedback, but it was all community driven.
that's the whole
I
focus. We
love
are
it.
a it's our vision,
Okay,
right?
here we go. Mhm. The vision of community.
Yeah. So we
Can you
are
hear
a
me
special.
okay?
I can. Can you hear me?
Mhm. I hear you great, and I'm so sorry, but I definitely hear you. Mhm.
Okay. I said we're a specialty coffee brand designed to connect community, culture, and history over warm brew. Like that's our mission. That's who we are. That's what we stand for. So community's at the forefront of everything that we're doing.
That's great. You know what? Are you okay? I have your website pulled up. I would love to share it if you want to kind of talk through some of your brands and the interesting twist that you have in your whole design and your whole concept of your brand, because this is not your average coffee. Let me just go and just pick this, coffee up off the shelf.
Yeah.
There's a whole story behind it. It is very heavily story driven.
Yeah. So every blend. So we can do the 64th in Tulsa because I know you have that bag with you, right?
I do. I do.
Yeah. So the 64th in Tulsa is named after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, that presidential signing by Lyndon B. Johnson. And it also allows us to reflect on what took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in the Greenwood district, with Tulsa Black Wall Street, right? So I consider that blend to be like reflection, a progression through darkness. It's a medium dark roast. And when you look at that bag that you just had held up, when we think about Tulsa and Black Wall Street, what was taken from us was generational wealth, which is why that blend, that color is green. On the
Yeah.
front of that bag, you'll see those tribal lines. You'll see where it's kind of etched out in that bottom corner. That's the inside of my thumbprint, because I believe that Black people's thumbprint is on everything. There's everything that's created within this country. There's a fragment of who we are and our contributions, right? And then on the back of your bag, you'll see these different emblems, and they look like, some people say, "Oh, is that hieroglyphics?" Or, "I like your design." I'm like, yeah, girl, that's what they are. But no, what it really is Ghanaian and drinker symbology. And so if you look at them, we have the Sankofa bird on the back of that bag, which means go back and get what's yours. We also have Wawa Aba, which means perseverance, because you had to persevere through everything that was going on and still to be able to find the glory in a lot of things. We
Wow.
also have in those bags, those lines are the United States, it's the US flag, the American flag. But what's unique about that is we laid those designs in the same way that the slaves were laid in the ship, the first ship that came over in 1619, over 400 years ago. So they're laid in that same layout that you see of that slave
Oh,
ship,
wow.
and that positioning there as well too. And then in the front, in our logo, you see the R, we have that cup because coffee is the most exported thing out of the continent of Africa. And it's the most exported commodity in the world. So it's the cup, but it's also like a piece of luggage when you think of things traveling over many different places. And then the gold foil for the stamp that you see on the front. When I went to
Yeah.
Ghana during a year of return, I was talking about the things that they had there. He said, everything of value we placed up on the ledge, the spices, to go, whatever. He said, and we put a stamp on it for commodities and sales. He said, but there was no value on slaves. So we didn't put stamp. There was nothing for them. And so I was like, when we had this coffee, and this was in 2019, so we haven't even launched. I said, I'm gonna put that stamp on my bag. And that's where that came from. So each blend tells a different story. The candy yams talks about how the yam came over with the slaves from West Africa to Tuskegee,
Mhm.
Alabama, where Dr. George Washington Carver used that yam for over 500 different uses, including the stickiness on the back of your envelope. So you have that in there, which is the one coming up. We have the Lord Baldwin blend, which is named after R.G. Lord and James Baldwin. So they all tell these stories of either significant events or highlight African Americans who have contributed to the framework and the cultural fabric of who we are. So I don't align this as Black history. It is our collective American history.
I love that.
So we all walk through those with these different blends.
I love that. Let's go through. Your site is incredible.
Thank you.
Since we have it up, let's just kind of step through it. If you can kind of walk us through, okay? All
Sure.
right. So hold on.
You
Let
can
me.
click on the pecan. That'll be a good one. That's cool. You can
Yes.
click on that one.
I love all these flavors that we are used to, that we know, that we
And
love.
so it's funny that you bring that up. And so when we think about the pecan, right? In many instances, the pecan, we have butter pecan ice cream because we were not able to consume vanilla on its own, right? But I think, and if you scroll down, I'm not sure what page, if you scroll down, you'll be able to see like the kind of breakout of the story of this particular blend. But keep rolling, keep rolling. Yeah, so you see these breakdown pieces here, and those are the symbols I'll see in the back of the bag. But this one I was really particularly intentional about because this blend is named after Antoine, who was a slave, but I consider him a horticulturist because they didn't capture slaves. They captured doctors, physicians, astronomers, and made them slaves, right? But he
Mm,
taught them how to puree the pecan when he was a slave in the St. James Parish. And so that house that you see on this page is actually a picture of the plantation that they believed he was kept on. And so we tell that story about how the pecan even came into the Black space. And growing up with my grandmother, that was one thing that she would have us do in the summer. We'll go outside, pick pecans off her pecan tree because she could make a mean German chocolate cake. And so we
oh,
would always get these pecans. That was like our little thing. And for every amount of pecans we got, however many bags, she would give us $1, right? And I'm
nice.
thinking it's just something small, but when we would go into town, because my grandparents, very rural areas, when we would go into town, you would see the people bringing in, the farmers bringing in their bags of pecans to sell, right? So she was teaching us early on entrepreneurship and how to be able to survive and
Yes.
things that we can do on our own. But understanding the story of how that pecan even came into this space, how it even came to be a fixation within Black culture was something that I really wanted to highlight within that as well, too.
I love the story. I am so, being a publisher,
Yeah.
I'm driven by stories. And
Hmm.
so when I first encountered your brand, me and my team, and it is just not the norm.
Hmm.
Coffee is such a huge commodity that we consume every day. And I had a guest on the other day, and she was talking about 6 cups of coffee a day. I said, people really drink that much coffee a day?
And that's dangerous. I hope they're
And
on a
that's
heavy
that's
diuretic.
dangerous.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like growing up, my grandfather, I had one grandfather
Mhm.
who had to drop out of school at the third grade. So he couldn't read.
Okay.
Well, he could read, but not like to that level. My mother's father was an avid reader, and every Sunday he would be in front of that, and every morning he'd have his newspaper and he's reading his newspaper every single day and drinking some coffee. And even if you look at the movie Frank Lucas, right? I mean, not Frank Lucas,
Yes.
American Gang, you see Frank
Yes.
Lucas, he's reading. When you think about older Black Americans, those who had the ability to read, they
Yes.
always had the paper and some
Yes.
coffee. It was their
Absolutely.
peaceful time. It was their quiet time. It was their moment of reflection to be able to educate and a level of stillness. And I wanted to create that as well. That's why all the stories on the back of the bag so that you can read while you sit still.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
so not that you're just getting coffee, guys. Those out there that's connecting in the community, you're also getting an education to
Yeah.
really be able to understand, once again, our Black culture.
Hmm.
And so, all right, we're gonna dig a little deeper because your
Yeah.
company is fairly a new company.
Yeah.
Ezra Coffee has only been around since 2021, I believe.
We just turned 5 2 weeks ago, and
But you have
you're saying I completely forgot
made
about
a
it.
lot of power moves, a lot of strides.
Yeah. Germaine, I think there's a bit of a delay. I think you're frozen again.
There is. Okay, I just heard. So you said we just turned 4?
5.
Yeah, 5. Okay. Oh my gosh, it's 2026. Time gets away from me.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I see that. Here we go. Come on. It never fails. I think it never fails. At this time, my internet does what it wants to do. So, all right, if you all can hear me, but 5 years old,
Hmm.
2026.
Hmm.
Can you hear? All right, we're gonna get this together. Come on. We're gonna get okay. Jessica.
I think you went back out again.
All
I
right,
heard
we're
you
gonna
come.
take a few moments and realize. Okay. All right, so let's talk about 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
I am so sorry. I tell you.
It's okay.
It's
It's okay.
okay, 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
And I'm seeing myself slowly freezing up. All right. Okay. Am I back? All right, Jessica. All right, let's see. Technical difficulties. This is
And
not
good
good.
folks say
Okay, technical
we're gonna
difficulties.
keep
I
on
think we're
going.
back.
It's gonna be all right.
I think you know what? When there's important information that has to come across, I tell you, my internet wants to act up during this hour, always. And that's a
Yeah.
problem because it's fine throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
But we're not going to give the power over to that because we have a lot of power to explore and to gain on this episode today. So, 5 years,
Hmm.
you have been making some amazing strides,
Yeah.
pretty much really with your brand.
Hmm.
Let's talk about some of those.
Okay. Sure.
So, 40 under 40.
Yeah.
What was that whole experience when that happened for you?
Um, I really can't even say because I didn't even know someone nominated me, so I didn't apply for it.
Mhm,
And it was actually one of my partners that I had worked with. We did coffee things with them,
mhm.
and I got an email, and it was like, this, and I was like, I kind of blew it off because I thought it was one of those like pay to run an ad and this kind of thing, those things that they send out. And I was
Yes.
like, no. And then it came back again, and in the subject line it said, "Please respond." And I was like, let me just look at that. And I was like, oh my God, like me? And then I had to realize, like, girl, you almost 40. So it was like two things happening at the same time. Like you're realizing that you're aging into a different bracket on the little check box when they ask you how old you are.
Yes.
And then I was like, oh my God, this is dope. But girl, you almost 40. So it was beautiful, but at the same time, it was kind of a little humbling. So I was
Yes.
like, because I try to live my life in like in months, right? I know this may sound weird, but I don't say like I'm 10 years until I'm 50. I say I have 120 months until I'm
Yes,
50.
yes.
Because then for me, it accelerates things that I need to do. But when I think that I have years
It
to
feels
do it,
longer.
it feels like
Mhm.
I have all the time in the world, right? And so
Exactly.
My friend is like, you always saying stuff in prison terms. And I said, I do that because it challenges me to think about how long, I
Exactly.
really have to get something done. So yeah. But it was
That's
amazing. It was humbling. To be honest, Germaine, it was for entrepreneur, and you might notice it came during one of those seasons where I
mm,
needed a different type of yes, if that makes sense.
it does.
I didn't
Absolutely.
need a yes, I needed a different type of yes, and it
Yes.
really allowed me to reflect. There was a time my mother, she's passed, but I remember calling her one day. This is when I was in my corporate job at Toyota. And I was so upset because I did not get recognized for this award, this project that I worked on. And I
Mm,
did all the work, and I had to level it up to my bosses and them for them to go present it out. And I didn't. And I called my mother, and I was so upset. And I was talking to her, and she was just like, mm-hmm. And I'm like, girl, like, you supposed to be on my side. You need to get mad. Like, tell me where they got me messed up. Get in the trenches with me.
mm.
And she just said, mm-hmm. And I was so upset. And she said, I'm on my way to chemo right now. And then she said, but there's going to come a time when you're going to stop worrying about the validation of them and focus on the
Ooh,
validation of him. And she said, and when that happens, you're going to be recognized at the right time, at the right place, in the right season for the right work.
oh
And
my
so when
God.
I got that award, it was at the right time and
In
the
the right.
right season for my work in front of the
Absolutely.
right place. So like I said, it was a different type of yes. It was a much needed yes. But for
Hmm.
me, it was more of a cyclical moment of me understanding this ain't got nothing to do with you. You're doing the work that I called you to do. And the minute you continue to
That's right.
rest in that, you'll be okay.
Well, you said a mouthful there because you know what? A lot of times I think we get caught up on needing validation from people
Yeah. I
and
mean,
we
I
take
see it
our
all the
focus
time.
off of the main thing. What
Yeah.
does he have our hands doing? You
Yeah.
know, even when we can't see, the outcome of it, but you never know who's paying attention. And so
Yeah.
someone took it upon themselves to see your value and nominate you,
Hmm. Hmm.
and it all aligned.
Yeah.
Wow. So, okay, that's one. Can we kind of go through your
Go ahead.
wins?
Yeah,
I
go
love celebrating wins. Okay.
ahead.
So, what was that experience? Now you have this brand, and I can imagine it could not have been easy for you because coffee is so popular and you're competing against some major players. So, how did you find yourself navigating in this space?
Let me tell you something. It's hard. I don't know how many more D's you're
That's a
gonna go
hard
behind
D.
that. It's a
Yes.
lot of D's and it's hard. I
Mm,
didn't think about it that way when I started it. And to be honest, if I
that's
did, I
good.
probably would have never did it. Like
Absolutely.
I literally did not think about it that way. And what I'm about to say to you is probably gonna be a little odd, but I think I was raised on pure delusion, if that makes any sense.
Break it
Like
down for us.
growing up in Atlanta, I was raised in Atlanta, that's all I know. I never, and follow me here, I never had or thought that I couldn't do anything, right?
Yes.
Like
Mhm.
I never, it didn't even dawn on me until I got to college to realize that growing up through everything, I never had like a white doctor, right? Like
Okay.
it never clicked in my mind that that wasn't what. So I always been surrounded around people who, if I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. Like
I love
all of
that.
my
Yes.
cousins, all of the
Mhm.
girl cousins for me are doctors or in the medical field, except for myself and one other one. She works in fashion. So I never been around people, or I never had the idea that I can't do anything, right? So
Yes.
I wasn't the person that said, let me look at what the market has. Let me look at what the competition has. I didn't do none of that. I wanted to do coffee. I thought it was a good idea. My sister's lactose intolerant. She has a soy and a nut allergy. I figured out a way to make great blends that she could drink without milk. Okay, somebody else gonna need this too. That was literally all I said I was gonna do. Somebody else needs this too. We were coming out doing the critical race theory, and I
Mhm.
wanted to tell the stories of Black people. Boom. I like helping kids go to college, and I want us to have a philanthropic side. That's what we're gonna do. That was it. It was not a whole lot of Starbucks has this and good and gather. I didn't
Good.
think about none of that. I put it out there, and my friend said, "Come with me to this store called HEB." I had never heard of it before. I was new to Texas, and something in my spirit said, "Take that bag of coffee." Because at this time I'm selling it online. I took it and I took a picture of my bag of coffee on that shelf, for two reasons. One, to see how good it looked. Two, to see if I needed anything, because I knew I had some pretty packaging. I need to see how
You
good my stuff
do?
was to other folks. And so I took that picture, didn't think nothing about it. I prayed in that aisle that day. Went on about my business. We went to shelf with HEB 1 year and 1 day to the day I took that picture.
Oh my goodness.
At the time I took that picture, I didn't have a contact. I hadn't been trying to do retail. It had never even crossed my mind, right? So when I say pure delusion or just extreme faith, however you want to qualify it, it never crossed my mind that this was not something that I could not do. And
I
it never
love that.
crossed my mind that it was something that even if I did do it and didn't work out, that I would feel some type of way. Right. Like it never struck me. So I don't know if that was like strong rearing in terms of upbringing, but or my mother just always telling us, if we said we wanted to do something, she would give us 30 days and it had to be done. You want to be on the track team? Okay, get outside. You need to get out there and you need to be on the team, because she
Mm.
wasn't buying uniforms for you just to be showing up. You had to make the
Listen,
team, she wasn't playing that. And so for me, it's just always been that you just got to go get it.
I
And
love that. Mm.
I'm always bet on me.
Yes, say that again. I am
I'm
always going to bet on
always,
me.
I'm always bet
I
on me.
love that.
And even if I don't win, I learned. I didn't lose, I
Absolutely.
learned. And I think that that's the biggest thing, because, my mother left out of here at 62 years old, fairly
Mm.
young, you know.
Absolutely.
And when she left, at her funeral, I was looking at people talking about, oh, she lived a beautiful life. And she did, but she didn't live her life. She was at basketball practice. She was at my daddy's gala. She was this, because she always said, well, when this happened, when y'all graduate, I'm gonna do this. When this happened, and that never came for her.
Mm.
Right. And so for me, it allowed me to know that our time on this space is not indefinite, right?
That's
So
true.
you need to do whatever it is that he's called you to do, and not bury your talents, but to really activate them and see how those things can manifest while you're on this side of the soil.
Listen, you became fearless. You didn't even think about fear. You just
What's
had
the
in your
worst?
mind.
I mean, literally, what's the worst that can happen? I lose some money. I got student loans.
Absolutely.
I mean, who else?
I
Okay.
know what that means.
Like, girl.
You had nothing to lose.
Nothing.
Nothing to lose, nothing to gain. All right, so listen, people don't know HEB. What HEB is actually. I learned about HEB when I traveled to Houston, Texas. Can you hear me okay? Because I feel
I
like
can
I'm
hear you.
freezing again.
I can hear you.
Deep breath.
HEB.
Okay, I'm
HEB
gonna
is a
take a deep
grocery
breath. I'm
store.
gonna take a deep breath. Yes.
HEB is a chain grocery store here in Texas. And when I tell you HEB is, I don't even know how to nicely describe what HEB is to these people, but I will tell you that it is a very strong addiction. Okay. They live, breathe, and die by HEB. And to be honest, it's something I've never seen before, but I truly love it. Like we had a Black History event in HEB the other week, and they had a zydeco band there, they had the African dance troupe there, they had some Greek strolling, they had all type, and it was just beautiful to be in a grocery store to see so many people just in community. But one thing about HEB is they are very big on doing local brands, which is where we are here in Texas. And another thing, they're very big on disaster relief. In every disaster that's come through Texas, HEB responded before the government every single time. And that's the type of store this place is. If you want to volunteer when they're doing
Mm.
food drives and help package stuff, you can get out there and do that stuff with HEB. So it's not just a grocery store, it's really like embedded within the community, right? Like they have wine tastings, they do different things with kids. They have kids days, so you bring your kids there. So it's beyond your like, big main chain. It's chain, but it's also still very local, and it's amazing. They're our first retailer, our number one partner, and I swear by them.
I love that. I had the experience of going into an HEB when I was in Houston, Texas.
Hmm.
And it's like you want to be there. That's how it felt. you
That's
know?
my point.
But exactly, it's like such a sense of community and belonging.
Yeah.
So to be partnered with them is great. And when I say it is huge, I mean, this is the premier grocery store
Hmm.
in Texas, this
Yeah.
brand. So
Hmm. Yeah.
now
We love them.
also, mhm, someone says we need one in New York City.
No, serious. Like, to be honest, I think HEB will work in New York too because they're community focused as well. But it is such
Exactly.
a vibe, and they took a chance on us. We went to retail with HEB in 16 months of being in business. They took a chance on us, and we're still there going on 4 years, and it has been a blessing to see them really support small local female and black owned brands. When we had that thing at Black History Month, it was all the black owned brands in HEB that was
Oh, wow.
participating, and we have another one this Saturday. So if anybody's in Texas, we'll be there Saturday at the Third Ward store. So we just,
Wow.
I mean, it's huge community. It's amazing.
So when you had that encounter with them, you took a photo with your brand on the shelf a year and a day prior.
Hmm.
How did you get from that to the brands now officially being on the shelves? What was
Yeah.
that transaction, that experience like? And
Yeah.
who did you
So
get in touch with?
so what we did was HEB has a contest every year where you can apply to be in a contest, and if you have a new innovative product that you feel like should be in your store, you should send it in. And so we did the interview. I
Mhm.
did the video, sent our video in, and I got a phone call. No, I got an email. And the guys in this email, it was very cryptic. And it was like, "Hi, I saw your video in this thing. I would like to talk to you about your coffee." And I was like, "Okay." And he said, "Tomorrow at 12." And I'm like, "Who are you telling me what time I'm gonna talk to you? Like, I don't know this man." And so something in my spirit said, "Be obedient." Okay. And so I said, "Not a problem. I'm gonna do it." But see, that day was my birthday. So I was already a little flustered, you know. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna take this call. And I say that because my birthday is typically around Mother's Day. So this is like right after Mother's Day.
Okay.
And
Okay.
so I get on a call, and the guy's like, "Look, you're not gonna win the contest. I'm gonna tell you that right now. We had more exciting and more innovative things than coffee." And I was like, "You called me to tell me this?" And so I'm just sitting there listening. And he says, "But I like you. I like your video. I like what you're doing with these kids. And I feel like this is something that we need because we don't have this." And so he started talking. I said, "Okay, cool." And he said, "Well, send me this to this address, you know." And I said, "Okay, cool." I said, "When you need it by?" He said, "Thursday." And I'm like, "Sir, okay, fine, whatever." So I sent it to him on Thursday. I'm not gonna stress. I'm gonna give you what you asked for because I'm still trying to figure out like where is this going? Because you
Exactly.
sent the video into this portal, and then whoever looking at it. And so he calls back and he said, and it's so funny. There's never an introduction. Good morning, how are you? There's none
Okay.
of that. His email's always like, send this to this, whatever his name. And I'm just this is how you communicate. I'm very southern, so mine have like 20 minutes intro before. But anyway, so I start sending, and so he calls me and he says, "All right, we like this, but I was talking about it to somebody else, and he wants to talk to you about it too." I said, "Okay, fine." So we had a meeting with the buyer. We talked to him, and he was, "I love this. I like what you got going on. Whatever, whatever. We're thinking about moving you to this next phase of our set. We're doing planograms." Now, I did a program with Target back in 2020 when we had started the business to learn how to be in retail. So I'm knowing some of these terms. I'm like,
Okay.
planogram, that means you're thinking about us. And I like this because you're thinking about me, which means I'm thinking about you.
Mm.
So we were going there. And so he says, "Okay, we're going to start you out in 3 stores." That was literally our process. We sent in that video. That guy sent the email. We met with 2 or 3 people. The guy says, "We're going to try 3 stores as a test, see how you do," right? Because we're new. I said, "Okay, not a problem." Called back. Somebody said, "Yeah, well, we talked to somebody else. They want it. And they saw you on another interview somewhere else, and they liked what we were talking about." So we were at 15 stores. I said, "Okay, cool." This kept going. Germaine, we were at 40 stores by the time they finished this conversation. And I was like, I got to
Wait
come
a
up with
minute.
a lot of money because they wanted all 3 SKUs at all 40 stores, and they needed a 30-day supply of every SKU at
Oh
every
my
store.
goodness.
That's a lot of money I had to come up with that I did not.
Absolute short notice.
A
Wait,
whole lot of shit.
this is coming from the guy that said you won't win. This is
Yes.
that same guy? Okay.
We're good friends now. But
I can
the thing
imagine.
about it is that is his delivery. That is his delivery. Like,
Oh
it
my
is,
goodness.
that is it. And the thing is, it did, sometimes I think we think things need to come a certain way.
Mhm.
But sometimes you need to realize that it came. And so I was just thankful for for that. And so we got there, and so we went, and so when we finally made it to shelf, he called me and he said, I just want to tell you congratulations. This first PO I sent you that we're going to send you is for this. He said, but I can't wait till the day I'm sending you a PO for $1 million.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I
Wow.
said, and that's the goal. And so that's the goal, for us to get $1 million PO from them. So going forward, we just started hustling from them and hustling. And so every year we keep growing. And so we're at about, I think we're roughly at 80 stores with them now.
Okay.
And we've been growing through the years, but it's hard work. We're in a different grocery store twice a month, demoing, getting in front of people's face, letting them taste the coffee, letting them sample the coffee. We are in the streets all the time because, Starbucks got a whole lot of money for marketing. We don't. So
Exactly.
for me, it's me and these cute edges and eyebrows, and I'm just outside like, let me see what I can get you.
Yeah.
Let me get your baby. But another thing too is we're very deep within the collegiate space, right? So we
Yes,
activate
let's
college
talk about
students.
that.
We partner with universities to do senior capstone projects so that the students can learn what it's like to be in retail. And do I really, really, because on social media, owning your own business is lit. And social media, only having your own product is exciting. And so we
Yes.
bring those kids with us. They don't just do decks. They are inside the grocery store doing coupons. I had them
Okay.
stocking shelves. They're passing out coffee, all the things. And we had one girl, she said at the end of the she said, you know what? Miss Jessica, she said, I really do love you. She said, but I don't want to do this no more. And so I said, I'm glad I saved your mama some money. But I'm just telling you, like, you really, a lot of times, because I used to work in higher ed, I told you this. One
Yes.
thing I noticed about the Black kids that was coming in higher ed, they were all going into social work and education. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're on a fully funded scholarship, why are we not looking at engineering and
Yes.
finance, all of these
That's
other
good.
things? But what it was, I realized, is we want to be the people that we see in our communities that are successful. So a lot of times it's just access and awareness. So if I can open these kids' eyes to see what a buyer is like, you know how many Black buyers we have in
Absolutely.
retail? Exactly.
Wow.
If they can become a buyer, if I can show them what it's like to be in finance to help a business forecast their budget based on units sold, you know how much money they can make in finance? And so a lot of it is me
Wow.
giving, yes,
Mhm.
they help me, but I want them to see different things that they can be doing within that space as well too. I want them to know what it's like
So
to
good.
say, that Black brand went out of business. Before they get on social media dragging them about what they didn't do, they can say, nah, I worked with a Black business and they did everything right, but they just didn't have enough capital to be able to stay there, right? And so my mom always say, education is nothing but exposure. If we're not exposing people to different things, they don't know it. And so when that baby changed her major, and now she's working for Six Flags in their finance department, I took that as a plus because
Absolutely.
and she was way too smart, my personal opinion, for where she was anyway, right? But it was exposure. And so we do that with college students. We do with HEB, we partner with them. Any coffee that we don't sell that's not there, we donate it to the food banks. They deserve to
Oh,
have amazing coffee there as well, too, outside of
absolutely.
their financing, right? And how can we continue to be at the crust of community? How can we get closer and closer to sewing into people even when they don't have, like
Yes,
it
absolutely.
happens. And I think too is we just have to be very intentional. And so I'm very intentional in how I activate my babies, even though they tell me that they grown, how I activate my babies and how I support them. Like we have some that are doing demoing with us this weekend at HEB. They're getting their college volunteer hours, yes, but they're also learning at the same time,
Yes.
and they're not getting in
Real, and it's
trouble
on the job learning. It's
on the
real
job
life
learning.
experience, not just
Yeah.
classroom.
And they need it, and they need to be able to see different things, and even them being out there, they meet other people. You know, one of the girls that demos with us, she started school. She's an esthetician now. She met a lady demoing with us who was an esthetician who let her start studying to her, and now she's an esthetician at that lady's office.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
like it's a beauty. It's a beauty, and that's Ezra means he who helps in Hebrew. That's what it means in the text, right?
Okay.
And when I said this brand wasn't we just selling coffee, but we also gonna be out here changing some lives. So our thing for our scholarship is changing lives one bean at a time. And so for us, we are really trying to see how we can continue to help people in the biggest space. College is very big to me because I used to work in the sector and I used to see so many bright kids come in and not be able to graduate because they had holes on your account. That's where the Ezra Scholarship came from. And so that's how we use our scholarship to be able to send kids back to college.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. You know, someone had a question here that I
Yeah.
think is so important. She said, from Coach Kathleen, she said, how did you come up with the money for the 30-day supply?
Listen. Do you really want to know?
Because the one thing you said, the finances is always the most challenging thing for us as Black businesses,
Yeah.
but we
No,
still make it happen.
you got to. Because here's the thing, I think there's twofold. I'm gonna tell you the answer, but I'm also say this. I think when opportunities come to us, sometimes we're so excited about the opportunity that we try to make it work.
Yes.
Right. And we had that with another big retailer, a big retailer. This was during the height of George Floyd, and everybody was coming. They reached out to us and they were like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, my brand could be here. You can probably put two
Mm,
and two together. And I was
yes.
like, yeah, and I called my friend, and I have a board of directors. On my board of directors, this is my personal group of people I talk to. I have one
Yes.
guy who is my risk adverse person, but he's extremely pessimistic, right? And I keep him because he keeps me grounded because I have big ideas and a whole little bit of money. And so I go to him with things and I say, we just got a call to do this. And he was like, that's great. And I was like, you need to be excited. He was like, how are you going to fund it? And I think sometimes people think having pessimistic people or maybe people who have that line of thinking is negative. I think it's extremely positive, right? Because I go to
Absolutely.
him and he can kind of cut it all the way down. He takes all the emotion out of it. He's an engineer by trade.
Yes.
And he allows me to see what's really there. The deal in presentation was beautiful,
Mhm.
but financially it didn't make any sense, right? And so I had to be
Yeah.
bold and say, we're not going to do this. And my friends was like, oh my God, I can't believe you did it. And it blessed us because we probably would have been out of business like a lot of other brands who ran into these big retailers. So I think that sometimes is what happens to Black
That
people.
is
We're
so
so
good.
excited to get the because we think it won't come again, right? But I always believe that God sent it once, he'll send it twice.
Oh, I love that.
it,
That is
it, it
so good.
happens, right? If everything he did in the text was in threes, why you think he only gonna bless you once? And I
Oh,
think that's how we got to think about. That's how I think about it, right? We turned down that deal, and then HEB came, and it was a much better deal. So the funding, what I did was I applied for a lot of grants. I had been
mhm.
doing that anyway, so I applied for a lot of grants. That was the first thing. I had a really, really nice Lexus RX 350 truck. Let me tell you about my car. I love that
Mm.
car down bad, okay? But I knew that I needed this money to run this business. And this is during COVID. I ain't really
Sacrifices.
going nowhere. And I had a paid car for a car in my garage, but I was living, because I don't have no kids and I was living my life. And so
Yes.
I end up selling that car. I sold that car, and so the money that I was paying for that car note, I had already started putting that money into a savings account. So I had some money. I used some of that money. I used some grant money, and then I negotiated on my purchase order. To be quite honest, I negotiated on my purchase order the payment terms of how I was going to be able to pay for it, how long it's going to be able to pay me back on it, upfront, things like nature of that as well. And then I borrowed some money from my dad, and I think that was the basis of how I came up with all of it. And I just really just kind of scrapped and put it together. Now, also too, we were already making money online from selling the coffee online, so we had money
Correct.
from there as well
Okay.
too. So it wasn't a
Mhm.
complete like we were just desolate. But I did
Exactly.
that. Now there was a time too because we had investors. There's somebody coming to me every week trying to be an investor, and this was around the time where you saw everybody, so and so just raised $6 million, so and so just raised $4 million. This Black owned brand got this. And I was a little conflicted because I was like, maybe we should go the investor route. But to be honest, I didn't know enough about my business. I didn't know enough about retail. I didn't know enough about numbers to be getting other people's money, right?
Yes.
And I
Okay.
didn't want to get somebody else's money and then mess it up. I never even thought about them taking over my business. That was never my concern. It was always them let me mess up my own money before I start borrowing other people's money. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like, let me
Yeah.
get that understanding. And I think too, when we borrow from our community, this is somebody's life savings they done put to the side that they given to you to invest in you because they think that you're gonna be the next Poppy, right? So
Hmm.
when I'm going to my people to ask for some money, I hold it very, very near and dear, and I just couldn't
Yes.
bring myself to do it. I can finagle my stuff. Me getting rid of that car, okay, that wasn't the end of the world in the
Definitely.
grand scheme. In the moment I was crying, I was thinking my life was over. But it's not the grand scheme. It's not. Like, you got a car, girl. You're being
Absolutely.
ridiculous,
You can get
right?
another one, right?
It's a car. It's a car. But my thing is, when you're borrowing, you have to be mindful when you're borrowing from us of what that person did to be able to be in a position to have money to
Oh,
loan. That's
that's
number
right.
one. And then when you're borrowing from VC, big venture capital, you have to understand that the only thing they care about is if they gave you $1, can you make it $10? Right. And so how much do I want to spend up all night hustling, trying to get them their money back? Let me mess it up first. So it was a lot of grants, my own personal money. I borrowed some money from my dad. I used some money from our store. And it came from there.
you know, just tapping into your resources. But you know what? You even to think through that process of considering somebody else in their station, their position, and not putting yourself in a position financially by borrowing. All money sometimes may not be the right timing, and it may not be good money at the at that time.
Yeah.
So you played the long game, and that's why you're still winning.
And I think, to be honest, I am, and yes, but I'm gonna tell you, it's not that it's that you don't get weary. You know what I'm
Oh,
saying? And
absolutely.
playing the long game, because when you look to your left and right, I'm like, dang, they did this in 2 years, and we just here. They did this and but I think the biggest thing, there's a quote by Ava DuVernay. She says, "When you're in your own lane, there is no traffic." Right? And so I have to run my race. I have to finish my course, and I have to keep the faith in my race. You know what I'm saying? And I
Absolutely.
think that's what it's been. So slow and steady for me makes sense because I'm a better founder. I'm a sharper founder. I'm a way better negotiator. And I'm also, I don't mind telling people no. And we ain't finna do that. Where I have another homegirl who's in a lot of, and she's successful, but a lot of the bumps that she's gone through is because she was scared to tell people no. Right. In terms of
Mm,
retailers, she would do deals that she knew didn't really make sense, but she didn't want to miss the mark. And so I was told, girl, put me on the phone. I'll tell them for you. Let me know. I'll tell them for you. And so she was just, and not from a rat-a-tat-tat thing,
I
but if
get
it
it.
don't make money, it doesn't make sense. And desperation has never bred good business.
Oh my goodness, girl, you dropping jewels.
It's just the truth. The text says we want for nothing. So why am I begging you to do anything when he's gonna supply all of my needs? And if this don't supply the need, then this ain't the thing I need to be doing. And I think that that's sometimes where I try to keep myself planted. But in this
Yes.
journey as a founder is lonely and it's hard. And like I said, my mom passed, so everywhere I
Yeah.
go, I always want to run to them and I want to run in that space. But for me, I had to understand that you got to make the main thing, because
Exactly.
everybody loves you, but everybody wants to make some money. And I think that is the most important thing that you have to understand when you getting into business. They can love your story, they can want to be first black on whatever, whatever. Yeah, yeah, they want to make some money. Period.
That's
Can you
it.
make them money? And if you can't make them any money,
You might want to reconsider at that moment.
because
If it's not the right time.
yeah, and it's the same thing. It's kind of like the whole DEI thing with Target, right?
Hmm.
We don't own Target's house. That's their house. That's like me coming to your house for a sleepover, and you told me I got to leave on the third day. It's your house. I got to
That's
leave on
right.
the third day. I got to get my sleeping bag and go somewhere else, right? And so when you understand that,
This
Oh,
is so
thank
much.
you.
Yes, Coach Kathleen. Yes. Let me read
Well,
it out loud. Please let me know how I can support you and your company and your vision. I will volunteer to sow into your vision. That is a blessing. Nurse, attorney, reverend writer. That's her. That's who she is. She is also a lover of all things Black. She is our every fourth Wednesday. She does menopause unmasked. She comes on and she really teaches and gives us sound advice about what's going on in these bodies of ours.
listen, tell her I gotta. And first of all, thank you. I thank you, and I will let you know. I'm gonna say this too, and I'm gonna come back. But our scholarship opens June 19th on Juneteenth, and what we do is we use a portion of our proceeds to pay off the holes on students' accounts so that they can return to campus. So, for those who are not familiar, when you see kids and they get these amazing scholarships, it's for tuition only. And so a lot of them are leaving because they got a hole because their financial aid was late. They couldn't register for class. They parked out of place, whatever it is, but there is no money to cover the hole that would allow them to return to school. So we pay for those holes so that those kids can finish their degree and not leave campus with just student loan debt. So we've done students at Howard, Alabama State, Southern, Ohio State, Oklahoma State. It's not based on anything other than their GPA, their commitment to community service as well too. So that's that. And we open that, and then we also do, there are people who donate because they say I don't want to buy coffee, but I just want to donate to the scholarship. That is an option for you to do as well too. So I'll say that. And then we should probably connect with the doc to do a menopausal session with I'm a part of a motherless daughter, well, a Mommy's in Heaven group, for all those questions that you have that you don't have nobody to ask. My mom was only child, so I don't even have no aunties. So so we should probably have her do one of those things too. But
Absolutely.
yeah, but thank you. And that's definitely a way that you can support us. Let people know we do corporate gifting, we do corporate events, we do stuff all the time. But my whole thing was to make coffee for people who were lactose intolerant, and who are we did a fam kid. We did a fam kit last year. She's in finance, Vaqueria. She's in finance. Yeah, we support her last year. So thank you. But
Thank you,
it was to
Leslie.
make coffee and to send kids back to college. Those are the only two things, and it build a sense of community. So that's really what wants to. I used to work at Ohio State, girl. So yes,
That's
oh
Coach
wait.
Kathleen.
So yeah, it was really good. But I think when you're thinking about, all things that we discussed today is remembering your why. Why did you even start the business? And that's what's going to keep you grounded when it gets hard. That's what's going to keep you grounded when it gets tough. And did the decisions that I make today allow me to sleep peacefully at night? And do they make opportunities for tomorrow? That's it. And then my other thing that I try to do is give myself grace because I'm very hard on myself sometimes. It's not that big of a deal. So I try to ask, is this going to matter in 30 days? 9 times out of 10, it's not. It matters to me now because I feel it. And so I try to go through those things and to be a cheerful giver. I believe in giving your time, your talent, and your 10th. Which one of those ways and how I can support. And so that's really just the foundation of what I do and who I am. Because when I'm stressed with, Ezra, I'm in junior league. And so I do the birthday parties for the kids in foster care. Me being able to do that on random Saturday morning allows me to step away from my stuff and focus on somebody else for a minute. It also helps me to think better and look at situations a little different as well too. So just continue to be a good giver and a sower.
Amen. Amen. Listen, I know
Yeah.
once again, the internet is doing its own thing, but just I know that you have another priority, and first of many. I just want to let everyone know out there. Not sure if
You're
you can
good.
hear me okay. Can you hear me okay? As we
I can hear
bring,
you.
can you hear me okay?
Mhm.
Can you hear me? Okay, I am so sorry, but listen, for everyone out there that's chiming in, thank you so much for just being a part of today's conversation. Jessica, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me okay? I see myself freezing, moving, stuck. Okay, let me see. Oh, that. Okay. Come on, StreamYard. Come on. For those that have chimed in today, I hope you can hear me okay as we just wrap up the Brew Impact with Jessica Taylor. Jessica, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Jessica, can you hear me?
I can hear
So,
you.
Jessica, here we go. Oh my
Hmm.
goodness. Thank you. Thank you all
You're
for
welcome.
just bearing with my Wi-Fi service. You know what? I think we're about to switch back to my original one. So, but
Yeah.
anyway, Jessica, thank you so much. I know you have another prior engagement, but we must bring you back to do another part. Next time the connection will be a lot stronger.
It's
But
okay.
with that
I have
being
about
said,
I have about 5 minutes. Did you have any questions or anything else you
okay.
want to cover?
Well, yeah, so is there any questions that you guys have? You guys are sending in. Oh, that's right. The devil is a liar. You guys are sending in information. Is there any questions that you guys have out there? If not, let me go to as we bring this to a close because Jessica, you have really blessed us with your knowledge, your insight, and just really how your story, the power of one story, I cannot say that enough. You really have allowed your story to pretty much transcend into or manifest into the things that you saw that you may not have even known completely, but it is building a legacy for us all to still be able to take part in even long after. This coffee brand is so special. I want to show this is the box, one of the boxes for, let me just grab the brand because I'm drinking the 64th Tulsa brand,
Hmm.
and I'm going to put this back up on the screen. Please go to Jessica's website. Let me bring this. It's in the comments too. And I'll put it over on Instagram because I have those on Instagram. Thank you so much, guys, for chiming in. But please visit EzraCoffeeCo.com. I'm smelling this, Jessica. It smells so good.
Listen, we did a thing at that one sells out all the time. So when we were
So this
roasting
is,
it, I was like, let me get her one.
oh my gosh. It's not even open. I just got this in the mail, right? It's not even open. This is Le Grand Deuce. How do you say it?
It's Le Grand Duck 1928. And
Mm,
that one's named after Eugene Bullard, who was the first African American fighter pilot in World War One. After the war, he went to open up a club. He couldn't get any alcohol, gin or whiskey, gin or anything because he was black. They wouldn't sell it to him. But his friend Josephine Baker was an ambassador for a cognac company. And so she brought it there. Her friends Louis Armstrong, when they would visit his club, they would use it there as well. Fast forward, Herb Douglas, who was an Olympian, start working for this same cognac company. And so he started shipping around too. He took it to some rappers, and they start putting their videos. And what that cognac is, what you know now is Hennessy. So that is
yes.
our cognac infused blend. And so we tell the story of that when you think about
Mm.
that with bloodshed of veterans, that bag is red, and then also for the color of the cognac as well too.
Oh my goodness. So cognac, apricot, and caramel.
Hmm.
I
That's a
mean,
fun
literally,
blend.
I'm smelling it. The bag's not even open. And
Yeah.
it's such, oh my gosh, I can't wait to try this one.
Yeah.
But all right, so let me see if anyone has put anything in. I did leave the website up because I really want you to go over there, find out more information about Ezra Coffee, and also get to know her community. Okay, and we're going to invite Jessica into our community also. But let's go. Let me see. Is there any questions that I have here? Okay, before we bring this to an end, it says, okay, hold on. Coach, everybody getting coffee for Christmas.
Listen, those little stocking stuffers, the little 4 ounce bags you have, that we moving them all holiday season. They make
Yeah.
perfect stocking stuffers. But I will say too, even if you don't purchase anything from the website, just feel free to put your email address into the pop up, because what we do is we send out emails for when the scholarship
Yes.
opens. We let people know when it opens. We let people know how they can support and forward it to other people. We also do tasting. So when we're trying a new blend, we don't just put it out there. We do a list of tastings. If you want to be on our sample list of trying a new blend, we use our community to try a new blend and give us feedback on if that's something that they wanted, if they like it or not. So there are different things that you can do to, be of a resource to us as well too. Um, things of that nature.
Absolutely. And Ezra Coffee has become I've been kind of dropping hints for months when it comes to a new coffee partner that I have. And so she's finally here, guys. This is what I've been dropping hints about, Ezra Coffee. So we are excited. She is definitely a part of the Morning Brew family, and we will definitely be pushing her coffee. So I know Coach Kathleen says, how can we help market you? What would you drink? What would your dream be that those of us who want to help market you and market you, what would your dream be that women do for you? Okay, I probably messed that all up as I was reading through it.
My dream that women can do is that we all touch and agree, and that we be more than two or more gathered. Our goal is, I want us to be on college campuses. That's what I would like for us to be on college campuses. And so if you can touch and agree and lay that on the altar and intercede, that will be our prayer and supporting us in doing it. If you know somebody, or if you, heck, that would be my thing. How you market us is continuing to share the word, continuing to talk about us, continue to share posts. When you get emails, forward them to somebody. Hey, you may not have heard about this. Those things. I would say one thing about the Black community that we have, don't nobody else have, and they can't have it, and they never will, is the power of word of mouth. And I will tell you that has really helped us and helped a lot of other brands as well too, right? It's because of how people are talking about us. And if you listen to the stories of a few other Black founders, how they got into retail, all of them, for the majority, were through word of mouth. And so
Absolutely.
continuing to talk about us and continuing to tell about us is, I will say, is the best piece of free marketing ever. And then promote. We have people who don't even drink coffee, but she loves to support. She loves our college portion, so she just buys it and gives it away. Like, she gifts it to people, all the time. And then every year when we get ready to do the scholarship, she always makes a donation, stuff like that. But I think that is how we are. It's kind of funny if you think about it with Black people.
Mm-hmm.
We can put something out there and everybody knows the answer to it. But back in the day, we didn't have any kind of social media. So how was all this getting around? How are we all raised by the same Black
Word of
woman?
mouth. Absolutely.
It's cultural,
Absolutely.
right? And so that's kind of how we are with it. So that is always the best thing. But that is our dream. And what you can do is to continue to stand in the gap for us, share, promote, post, and most importantly, buy some.
Buy some.
Because them tariffs last year.
Oh my goodness. We didn't even get into that, but I can only imagine. That's why, you know what? An hour just isn't enough time, but that's okay.
Girl, I
Jessica
woke
is a
up
friend of
every
the
day
family.
saying, Father, I stretch my hand to thee. No other. Because I'm like, how? You can't
Exactly.
budget for that. Like, it was crazy. But yes.
But you made it through, and here you
Amen.
are.
Here,
And
we
probably
sit here.
still dealing with it all behind the scenes. But listen, God gave you an assignment, and you were so clear on that assignment, and you were
Yeah.
pushing forward, and people are gravitating. The community is growing. And
Yeah.
so, thank you, Jessica.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
allowing your story, the power of your story, to really shine and resonate today here on Morning Brew. And I want to say, Monday, we are starting our official launch for the Power of One. Is the strategic activation, guys, for you to be able to really see the power in your story. And you never know who may stop by to help pour into your purpose. So, Jessica, thank you so much.
You're
And we will
welcome.
definitely stay connected, guys. Make sure I'm going to put it up one more time. Make sure you go to her website at EzraCoffeeCo.com and make sure you pick up your coffee, but also just navigate through and really see what's happening in her community, okay? And how you can be a part of it. So thank you, Jessica,
You're
for
welcome.
everything that you're doing.
Thank
So
you.
we will definitely keep pushing Ezra Coffee here on Morning Brew, and
Mm-hmm.
it will be our official coffee.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Have a wonderful day. And then thank you so much for just going through the technical moments and still staying in there. So,
It's all good. All right. Take care.
all right, guys. Guys, thank you so much out there for joining in. Whatever you do today, please make sure you're safe as we continue on in this journey of pouring into purpose. I'll see you tomorrow. We have another interview tomorrow for Authors Brew Friday. So I'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye now.